The IISc study told us that between 1973 and 2017, Bangalore has lost about 88% of its green cover. Our summers are getting hotter, the water is getting meager, and the BDA and the BBMP have not planted a single tree in the last 2 years. The government also proposes to cut down more of our green cover for many of the projects that it deems necessary. We've all been fighting, cribbing, and complaining about this. But one man decided to take this forward and decided to plant a forest right in the heart of the city. And he takes us around his home where he started this journey to tell us how easy it is to make your city green. Let's meet Bimal Desai.
The Japanese have something called the forest bathing. Now this is part of their life. Now they sit amongst trees which are thick forests for hours together, and they believe it enhances their spiritual quotient.
Thank you, Bimal. Thank you for having us in your home. Now, Bimal, we are standing next to the first forest you planted in your house here. Can you take us through the journey of how you got into this space of creating this forest, so to speak, urban forests?
See, the first problem I faced was rapid urbanization coming around me. So what I thought to myself was, can I just plant a lot of trees and get inside that and live my life? So for years I was wondering, how does one do it? So I met Shubhendu and he talked to me about Miyawaki method, where he says in a small square feet of land, like this is 500 square feet of land.
This right behind us.
This is 500 square feet and we have planted 150 trees.
It's as simple as that.
That's it. They have to do the ground, plant the trees, look after them for 2 years, just shower them with water in the morning and evening for 2 years, then God takes care of it. Now this is a 1 year, 6 months forest. Now when I saw the success of this, I said, let me do my other bits in my house because of the apartments coming all around me. So I have created 8 forest patches in my house, which in 2 years you will not see my house.
It kind of gives you the privacy.
It gives you the privacy, then there's cool air, there's water percolation, etc., etc.
But Bimal, you live in a space which is 3 acres. Your house is set in an area of 3 acres. Now we don't have that kind of luxury in Bangalore because land is at such a premium.
Correct.
And housing is in such great demand. So how does one do this in the kind of resources that we have? Most of them are, most of the people are now going for apartments because that's the only way we can actually satisfy the need for housing. So how does one do this in that given space? What are the basics that we need?
See, it is very simple. It is not as difficult as it looks. If you have a 10 by 10 space in your house, we can plant 30 trees. It will be a small forest in your house.
Okay.
I'm trying to convince builders. They're all doing 5 acres, 10 acres, 15 acres for apartments. If they can just give 10 feet at the periphery of the boundary wall and run it all across. You imagine on a 5 acre, they might be having about 10,000 trees on the periphery. And if they can sell that concept to those who are buying that flat, and if all builders do this, Bangalore can be green in 5 years.
This is what you've done in your house right now. This is the peripheral forest that you're creating.
Yeah, this is a 4-month peripheral forest, which in another 2 years will go up to about 20 feet and I'll not see the apartments next to me.
And it gives you absolute privacy.
Absolute
and
privacy.
It's very easy for any builder to do it, is what you're saying.
Even you can do it.
In my own house?
In your own house, even if you have 10 by 10 or 5 by 5, you can plant 5 by 5 about 10 trees.
Right. Now, the Miyawaki method uses the, native shrubs and native trees to do this. What kind of trees are we looking at? When we're planting, what kind of, what is the philosophy behind it?
See, Miyawaki method looks at 3 formats of trees. One is a subtree, tree and canopies.
Right.
And some shrubs.
Right.
Now, these are all native species of Karnataka and India, mostly Karnataka. So Once these are planted in that method and the ground is prepared accordingly, then the trees grow with a speed of 10x. In 2 years, you find them growing at about, it grows to a height of about 20-25 feet.
Okay.
And if in this city, my dream is to convert 100 parks.
That is the mission you're on.
That's my mission. If I can convert 100 parks in next 5 years into these forests, two things will happen. Bangalore's ambient temperature comes down. It's an antidote to pollution. Plus the biodiversity created in the ground will enhance the groundwater.
Correct.
Now, if we can do this, Bangalore city would hopefully, and if the builders support this, Bangalore city can get back its green. It would be a, I wouldn't say 100% livable city, but a better livable city.
Better livable city. But you're already on this mission. You've got these, you've got some projects going on where you're creating these forest spaces in Bangalore. You created one for the Director General of Police premises.
Yeah.
And you have Cant also.
Yeah, there we plant, on the 4,000 square feet, we planted 1,500 trees. In 10 months, as I showed you, they have grown up to 8 to 10 feet varying heights.
Correct.
In another 1.5 years, they will shoot nearly double. Now, the most interesting project I'm doing is near the Cant station. Just before the underbridge going towards Jayamal, Railways have given us their 14,000 square feet land, where we'll be planting 4,000 trees. And that patch is the most polluted patch in this, one of the most polluted patches in the city. So hopefully in 2 years, you'll have a thick forest there.
You'll have a thick forest. What about the maintenance, Bimal? How difficult or how easy is it?
It is not difficult to maintain at all. All you require is, depending on the size, one person to pour water in the morning, one person to pour water in the evening for 2 years, and mulch it. Instead of burning, your leaves, you just mulch it. Wherever you find this, just throw the leaves there, and the mulching happens. And if you pour water for 2 years, after that, God takes care of it. You don't need to take care of it. And whatever rains happen, these trees will grow.
These trees will grow. But in an urban setup like ours, where we want parks and lawns and all that, how do you sell the concept of an urban forest? Because how does this work? I mean, I want free space for my children to play around. We could ask for all of that. So how does this forest become, something that can be argued for?
See, parks, good old days, had space.
Correct.
We as kids could run around, play around, etc. Now, assuming parks are there, assuming parks are still there where kids can play, on the periphery of the parks, again I'm saying, give 10 feet. Plant the trees on the periphery. The level of oxygen which will go up, the level of percolation which will happen, kids will have more positive thinking, because trees, whether we like it or not, trees have a major effect on your health.
But given the fact that, I'm still going back to the fact that land is at such a premium in our city. So when, one says, why should I have a space only for a cluster of trees? I would rather have free space for my kids to play around with. It's difficult to argue with that.
No, but we are saying, you give periphery. We are not saying you give us the center where your kids are playing.
Okay.
We are saying you give us periphery of 10 feet round the boundary wall.
And that's the same argument you're making with
the builders.
Builders also.
You give 10 feet or 15 feet, depends on the size of the project.
Now, which one of them have been more difficult to kind of convince, Bimal? The private builders or the bureaucrats who are actually, who have these spaces? Even the smaller islands that we have in our city, we can use that also to create.
Anywhere, if you have a 10 by 10 island, we can convert it.
Which one of them have been more difficult to
Both are difficult.
Okay.
Because somehow this is still, but I don't lose hope.
Right.
They are both difficult, but I think the private builders might see sense soon and they might take it up. I have hope there, but bureaucrats have no hope.
They're very difficult to convince.
Very difficult.
And they are custodians of our common spaces.
Yeah. See, I approached near my house, there is a huge park. I can easily plant on the periphery about 7,000 trees.
Right.
And thick forest, and there are houses opposite the park. Imagine once those trees go up, the view for the houses, the birds, the butterflies, the oxygen levels. But when I approach the concerned bureaucrats, Nodanna, ನೀವು ನಾಳೆ ಬನ್ನಿ, ಕಾರ್ಪೊರೇಟರ್ ಜೊತೆ ಮಾತಾಡಿ, it becomes difficult.
It becomes difficult. This is what you've planted recently, haven't you?
This is a 3-day-old forest. This is how it looks when we plant it.
Right.
And once you plant it, see, we have mulched it. Because of less mulch, I put hay.
Right.
Now, once you mulch it, this is a 4-month-old forest.
Okay. And this will go up to about 25 feet.
No, some trees go to 50, 60 feet, some 25 feet. After 5 years, you will not be able to see the neighborhood. In this system, the trees grow very fast. See, imagine they were at this height. Now in 4 months, nearly they're at this height.
So, then is it the cost of it? I mean, the initial cost of doing this, is that prohibitive? Is that why it's not picking up with people?
Yeah, see, it is the cost of it, one. But for the builders, there's no cost. Alembic is doing it in the Whitefield project. They have created forests. They are selling it, somebody told me, at 500 rupees a square foot more if you want to your building to be next to the forest. So I am telling the builders, create your forest, sell it as a USP, charge your whatever 200, 300, 400 rupees more, but do a CSR activity, make your money and make the city green. It's not difficult at all. It's simple. If they have the will, there is a way. And we are here to show them the way.
But never mind the other people, Bimal. What about us as individuals? What do you think we can do? Because clearly, I don't have 10 by 10 in my house. I don't have 5 by 5 in my house because the kind of built up area. So, with the limitations I have, how can I work around it?
If your friend has a 10 by 10, and if you can convince your friend to plant 10 trees in that 10 by 10, you have done the job. You don't need to have it, but convince your friend who has it. Or 5 friends get together and take up a small park. We'll find a sponsor. But if every group of individuals start taking interest and say you find one island of say 10 by 10 again, take it up. That's what you have done for the society. You don't need to have space.
So you're basically saying stop complaining, start planting.
I am saying, I tell everybody, no use fighting the system, even though I fought for 16 years trying to save
You have
Cubbon.
one of the highest number of cases trying to save Cubbon Park. 14 cases.
14 cases for 16 years I fought. Some I won, some I lost. But now I realize that it's no use fighting them. Let's act. And the only way to act is let's start planting trees. Why? People say, there is no rain. Okay. Now rain has reduced because lakes have reduced.
Correct.
Because the evaporation has reduced. Now what attracts the clouds? Again are trees. Now trees have reduced. Now there's a complaint groundwater has reduced.
Correct.
Now how does groundwater percolation happen is if you have mulch, there's a biodiversity, then there's percolation. Now that happens only if there are trees and mulch. That has reduced. We are burning leaves instead of putting this in the parks and gardens. Then there is a complaint of pollution. What is the antidote to pollution is again trees. So everything is trees. So let's stop complaining. Let's act. I am saying yes, those who want to fight, but parallelly act. Let's not waste the next 5 years simply complaining and fighting. I would request all citizens, all companies to start sponsoring.
Even the bigger corporate houses who have very large
spaces
this can be replicated.
Oh yes, if they have the will, we will do it for them. But it's on a commercial term. See, we are doing it on a cost to cost for public space. But if there's somebody wants, it can be done. And in 2 years, their corporate office will look like a thick forest. Everything's possible.
It's just a question of will, is what
it is question of will. If all citizens, like you rightly said, I don't have space, but if your friend of yours has space, convince her. You have done your job. If that friend and you convince a BBMP person saying this island we can plant 10 trees, let's do it. That you have convinced, done your job.
And these trees can be anything from gooseberries to...
You can have gooseberries, honge, nugakai, teakwood, Florus regenias, tabuvias, anything, but it has to be native. Millingtonias, but you can't have silver oaks, they are not native.
It's as simple as that.
Very simple.
Pick up an island, adopt an island, convince a friend who has some space, saying, listen, let's get a tree in this space. Why do you want to have this empty?
Not one tree. Let's get 10 trees because the Miyawaki method, the speed of growth can only happen we plant bunches.
So it's as simple as that. While we continue to act, continue to fight for a collective green cover, as individuals, Bimal showed us how easy it is to green our spaces and how we can do it as simply as going and planting a tree. Thank you so much for joining us. We'll catch you again next time.